The Corridor.
Hello everyone, welcome to yet another exciting episode of The Corridor. My name is Ramla and I'm going to be your host. I have an exciting speaker, a very beautiful lady, a lady with so many hats, and let me not jinx it for you. Let her introduce herself. Hello Rita, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ramla. Hello everyone, my name is Rtn Nakasawe. I am a Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Kajansi. I am a former Rotaractor at Rubaga and a former Rotaractor at the University of Kisubi. I am proud to say I'm a Paul Harris Fellow.
Paul Harris Fellow. Interesting. I always hear those terms, Paul Harris Fellow, and I am excited to get that title myself. Or do I have to do something to get there? What does it take?
For anyone to become a Paul Harris Fellow, you need to donate money to the Rotary Foundation. When you donate the first $1,000, you are called a Paul Harris Fellow. The more you keep adding 1,000 and another 1,000 and another 1,000, then you're given a sapphire and another sapphire and another sapphire. So at level 1, where I am, I have donated $2,000 to the Rotary Foundation.
Wow. Thank you, Rita. $2,000. I'm inspired, by the way. So, I'm going to ask you about your time as a district service secretary, right? Did I get that right? You were the DS at some point. And we've had all these titles, DS, Paul Harris Fellow. What has it been like for you to get into those positions? Are you a Rotarian's daughter or, well?
Interesting question. I come from a very humble background. I'm a daughter to Mr. and Mrs. Sebugwao, residents of Kajansi, and they are not in the Rotary family. I joined Rotary when I went to the University of Kisubi and met this enthusiastic group of youths who are going to do a project at Subi Children's Home in Nkumba. They were visiting this orphanage, they were taking books, they were taking soap. They went and did cleaning, and I was really interested in joining this team of charitable ladies and gentlemen. When I came back to the university and told them, okay, I think I want to join you, they did admit me, and I was inducted and installed on the 14th of April 2012. At my induction, they saw it wise to install me as president because they had gotten attracted to the magnet in my character as an individual. Serving as president of a Rotary Club in your first year of membership was really challenging. I didn't know a lot, but I chose to look out to other clubs that had been in existence so I can be able to learn something from them and maybe copy and paste home. I visited very many clubs, and with this I did with the club members that I had at the University of Kisubi. We could fuel the university shuttle, and then it would take us to visit clubs out there. And whenever we copied something from what they do at their project, how they conduct their fellowships, we came to paste at home. It wasn't easy to paste exactly what people in Chambogo, in Rubaga, people in Kampala Central, Kampala Zako were doing to bring it to Kisubi. But we did try as much as we could, and somehow the year ended. I was surprised that at the end of that year, I was awarded President of the Year at the inaugural Rotary Country Awards. I said, oh my goodness, what have I done different? But anyway, I thought I was just being me and doing what is expected of me as president. However, that led to my first step into getting to the leadership beyond club level. That at that point, after being awarded, certain Rotaractors started approaching me and telling me, Rita, we know you can serve with us on this. All those that didn't know me at that point were able now to get to know me. All those that had about the reporting, how the reporting had been in the past years of Kisubi and how it had changed in that year when I was president, were able to say, okay, I think if we pan a bit here and there, she can actually be a better person. All the persons who had that, as president, I took grounds and said, my club has areas of country and district use for the past 3 years, and I am going to make sure that we pay this year. Said, okay, we love the enthusiasm in her, and we think she can be able to push others even beyond club level. So somehow, I was appointed for the first time to serve on an organizing committee for the coming of the RI president. I didn't know even what that meant. but I was put on protocol and I was happy to serve. I was so happy to be at the airport, you know. When you are a youth and you've not been to the airport very many times and they tell you your role is wait for the visitors and welcome them. You know, you show a Rotary banner and tell them you're welcome to Uganda. Trust me, I was thrilled to serve. And I did it just out of love and passion. Before I knew it, I was appointed an assistant district Rotary representative, Zone 7. I was given clubs that were struggling by then. The Rotary Club of KIU was about to break down. The Rotary Club of
it was on oxygen.
Yeah, KIU was on oxygen. Chiboli was starting, yeah, but they had a lot that they still wanted to learn. Kampala South was good, yeah, but still it was also still starting. Kampala East, and these are clubs that I was given to lead. So at that time, I had to take it on, not knowing, okay, how does an ADR do things? I worked very far from Kampala.
Is it from that background that you later became an ADR for the provisional track clubs?
Yes.
Wow. Tell us about that, because one thing I know is it is always an uphill task and you did it effortlessly. So what were some of the challenges of provisional Rotaract clubs and how many were chartered later on because you were the ADR at the time?
Thank you very much for that question. If I must begin properly, I was the first ADR for provisional clubs. Before, we used to have an ADR given to a club after its charter. And now they tell me you're going to be the first ADR for provisional clubs. I said, okay, now this is so heavy. Other clubs already know about the reporting system. Other clubs already know about dues. Now I am going to begin from scratch to tell people about district dues, country dues.
Why they should pay,
you know. But the teacher in me sat down and came up with a small lesson plan and said, okay, what would someone consume in their first time of coming to Rotary? They need to know about what is Rotary and what is the history of Rotary. When they come another day, what should you tell them? Let's tell them about the hierarchy of leadership in Rotaract and Rotary, and as well as tell them their roles so they can be able to appoint or select leaders in their clubs, in their provisional clubs. Number 3, let's tell them about projects, because the reason as to why we are here as youth is not for anything but to do service projects. So I said, okay, having this in place, can I really do it alone around this country? I said, no. So how do I approach the training of the many Rotaract youth out there who want to join Rotaract? And I came up with an idea and said, I need to get mentors, other people who have been there for Rotaract and can be able to explain these concepts to the youths who are going to become Rotaractors. I approach people like past country chair Nathan. He's very good at speaking about personal branding, and this is someone who always I gave him a schedule and said, on this date you are in Namasu, in Lubowa, on this date you are in Kajansi, on this date.
Oh yes, Kamba is good.
And he did that. I know someone who is a Rotarian now, Rotarian Businge Geoffrey. When he begins to speak about projects, from needs assessment to monitoring, Father Haji is a star. So I said, okay, now, how do I get him involved? Still, I gave him a schedule and he complied. I approached you, Ramla, I remember very well. Now, when it comes to Ramla here, whom you're seeing, you need to know how to tap the best spot of making Rotaract a family. When Ramla was president of Entebbe Airport, we had the biggest and most beautiful bond in that club. They were everywhere as a team, yeah? So I kept calling upon Ramla to help me make presentations on teamwork, on the union of heart.
Ah, you're making me blush.
Ramla, you made presentations that I also learned from as an individual. I called upon Eunice. Eunice was a new Rotaractor by then, but he knows a lot about PR and branding, and he was of service. There is someone I always called the Rotaract Encyclopedia, immediate past DRR Jacob Sendaula. Jacob is someone whom you're going to wake up in whatever time of the day or night and tell them and ask him about statistics of any Rotary related something, and he will have it off head. Yeah? He has taken off time to read, so he's spontaneous when it comes to Rotary and Rotaract information. So he always presented about the history of Rotaract and the history of Rotary, and he had the statistics of when, how many, which country, which year, where off head. So those were some of the people that I approached at that time. And we did go places. So now that the central Uganda here was manned, I made sure I had now to go out of my comfort zone and do the trekking up country. I was in Kasangati almost every month because they had the Rotary Club of Nangabo by then. I was in Masaka at least once every month because they had the Rotary Club of I'm forgetting this nursing school. They have a nursing school in Masaka where they were mentoring the Rotary Club, which is now also chartered.
Wait, is that where you had fellowships in Uganda? There's a slogan I used to hear about.
We had fellowships in Uganda at the Rotary Club of Kalisizo Pt1.
How did you used to give the forward test? Is it the forward test or is it the final test? Let's carry on, Rita.
Yes, you know, this is a primary teachers college, and these are senior four students who have come from very different schools in the village, and they have come to a PTC to study, and they also want to join this noble family. So they do not know a lot of English like clubs here in Kampala do, being that they are coming from very humble backgrounds, from some of what you will call the weak schools around the region, because many a time when children perform well, they come to A level and they come to the university. So whenever children don't perform well at O level, they tell them, you go to a technical institute, you go to a PTC. So these were not so strong students, but
they had the love.
They had the love to serve society. I was in Namugongo for Shimon PTC. I was in Bale. You know, I chose to do the upcountry runs around myself because I realized I couldn't push other people to go upcountry. I was so grateful that my work schedule was tight when I was working at Biogas Solutions, but whenever I had the field trips out of town, I made sure I used those as the opportunities. I could negotiate with our driver and tell him, you know what, please, you can travel with the rest of the team because I want to spend more time of the weekend with the youth here and do some mentoring of the youth. I drilled so much on in-house trainings, especially for the upcountry clubs, and at the end of that Rotary year, we managed to beat the target of the district governor, Bob Wagwan Sibira, who thought that he had looked at the picture of membership growth for Rotary at 15 clubs. We had 24 clubs that were chartered that year. And I'm proud to say that I am so happy that most of them are now some of the strong clubs that we have in our district. Yeah, so that's how I ended up being crowned outstanding ADRR of the year. It's because they saw me run around the country. All my fellow ADRRs worked tirelessly and they really worked so hard. But they had one of the softest spots that the clubs they were handling knew what to do.
And yours was starting from
Mine was starting from zero, and then they managed to actually get them up to the charter of all those clubs. I was happy that clubs that had stayed as provisional for about 2-3 years, like Naguru, like Rutamu, were chartered that year, you know.
And today they are flying.
Today they are flying. And when I look at them having, for example, the current district executive secretary is a former member of Rutamu, I look at her and I'm like, I thank God I met those youths, because maybe today we wouldn't have her serve at that prestigious position, and yet she is a very intelligent girl whose talent we would have lost out if we had not gotten her into Rotary.
Is that Owembabazi?
No, she is called the IPP of Rutamu is now Nanyonjo Diana.
Yes, I remember her.
Owembabazi Sarah is serving on the
DCA protocol. On to DCA.
That's a subcommittee, but she's also serving on the grants. She's the district grants officer for Rotary. Now, this is someone who was also in Rutamu, and she's now helping Rotary clubs on how to access district grants and global grants. Now, see,
to
do their projects. These are all resourceful persons. If we had not tapped on them, maybe
we wouldn't be having
them. Maybe the other persons would have in those offices would not be delivering, because under Owembabazi's term of service, we have about 7 Rotary clubs that have been able to scoop about 7 million shillings for grants to do their projects. Why wouldn't I say that she's a good leader? Yeah? So basically, I have a feeling that year was a hectic year, but with sweet fruits at the end of it.
Sweet fruits indeed.